everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys palettes that I think are perfect for summertime, but I'm also going to be showing you palettes that can go for either season, either fall or summer. It just depends on your preference because I might be a little bit picky when it comes to that kind of stuff. At least I think I am, but I have reasons why I personally think these palettes are for the reason why I think it. You know what I mean? So let's just jump right into this video. If you get like this kinds of videos, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see a winter version of this video, then leave a comment down below and I will try and come up with something. I would have to really think about it, So I hope you like these videos, and also be sure to hit that subscribe button if you aren't already to join my family, because I would love to have you guys a part of this little family got going on here. So let's just jump right into the video. Okay, so everyone is different. Some people don't rotate their makeup collection. Whenever the summertime comes, they use the same things. The only thing they change up is literally their foundation color, their concealer, and maybe even their bronzer. That would be the only thing they might actually change up. But for me, I try to save certain palettes for certain times of the year because I really feel like the colors speak more levels of this certain season than other seasons. It would, to me, it's out of place. Now, I want to make a disclaimer. If you love using any of these palettes that I have, if you like using them any time of the year, you do you. Makeup is like art, you can do whatever you want with it. Makeup to me is art. It's like the same. To me, it falls in the same category. It's a form of art. You're allowed to express yourself in any way, shape, or form. So if you're not happy with, the palette I chose for this, whatever, then this is what I consider art, and that's what you consider art. We're different people, and everyone likes different things. So now I'm gonna jump right into the video. Okay, you guys, so this is the palette that kind of started it all with me. It would actually make me really think about the palettes that I think are perfect for summertime. So I'm going to start off with the Kokie Artist palette, and it's called Peachy Queen. Now this actually just came out this month. I've used it once, and I'm going to be doing a second impression. I think that would be, I think after this video, I don't know. I'll see how everything falls, but these colors to me just scream, this screams summer. You have your beautiful peachy shades, you have that beautiful peach right there, you have all those light baby pinks, you do have your rose gold, you have another deeper rose gold, you just have all those nice pinky kind of tones. When I think of with summertime, I think of light pinks, and I think of peach, and I think of warm tones, not like burnt orange, but warm tones, if you know what I mean, a nice orange. I don't know how to describe it, but I think of a nice sienna kind of color, or sepia. But this was the palette that made me do it all, come up with this whole video, because I saw this and I'm I could only use this in the summertime, because these colors just speak summertime vibes to me. Certain things, places or whatever, they have a certain vibe to them. At least that's how that works for me. Certain palettes have certain vibes, and if I use the palette out of its vibe, it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? So this is the perfect summertime palette, especially since it's April and summertime is hopefully approaching. I think this is a perfect thing to pick up. You can get these at Walmart. You can get them online, and I think that's anywhere that sells Kokie, but I just think this palette is perfect for summertime. Would I use this for any other time? Probably just for the lighter pinks, because I love pink on the eyes. Maybe just to use this color in the crease and a shimmer on the lid, and that's about it. Nothing too peachy. So this is the one that started the whole video. Okay, so this is a big summertime palette for me. This is a Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. Now, I can't, oops, my finger almost went into a color. I just can't, okay, there you go. I just can't see myself using this in any other season besides summer. Just these warm tones and the peachiness to it, it just screams, obviously, summer. And I think because of the name, I think the tray's popping up out of it. Anyways, I just don't see myself using this in the wintertime. For me, when I think of wintertime, I don't think of nice pumpkin-y colors. I don't think of that. I think of dark, vampy, your typical dark eyeshadow, but nothing warm. I think of cool tones because the weather is cold. I think of kind of that. So that's why I would definitely save this palette specifically for just summertime, because it just has that nice warm beachy kind of vibe to it. Like I can see myself using this like, oh, I'm going this is how I picture myself using this. I'm gonna go to Target. I'm wearing like a nice summer dress, and I would just use some of these colors because it's so nice and warm, and the colors flatter the air and the environment of just the nice warm weather. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Or I think too much of this. Some people don't think in depth like I do. But that is the reason why I definitely consider this just a summertime palette for me. When I tried to break it out for the winter, it just didn't fit. Like there was something missing. I'm like, there's something missing and I don't like it. Because it didn't look as good as it would in the summertime. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Now the next palette that I have is the Morphe 12NB, which is a very just basic kind of nudie, neutral kind of palette. I really do consider this one very summery, just based on the fact of how light the colors are in it, and you only have that one dark shade. So if you just took this whole thing out, to me this is just completely summertime, especially with this nice burnt kind of sienna kind of color, like a nice warm kind of color. You have your nice little warm transition shade right there. You have, they're not necessarily taupes right here, but okay, they look like taupey, like on someone who has a little bit more medium skin tone or just light skin tone. I feel like these would be more of a taupey kind of color, but on me, they're more of a warm color. So that's why I'm probably getting these nice warm vibes from it. This is something I'd probably use, maybe, this would be like more of a transition. Like I would use this transitioning into fall because it's not overly warm, but it's not overly cool. It's just the perfect amount of warmth that I think it can just be like the tail end of summer. I wouldn't necessarily wear this in like the heat of the summer. You can boil an egg or you can fry an egg in your car. None of that. Just mostly in that specific month, towards the tail end. So, if you have any palettes that you think are very summer appropriate only, and let me know, because I would like to know what you guys think is deemed summer appropriate, because everyone is different. Some people think that colors are more summer appropriate, like pastels. I don't think pastels. Some people think, some people think that pops of color. Other people think nice warm colors. Some people think peachy colors. It just depends on the user. So, this is the last palette that I would have considered for being a summer palette. The rest I have is a either or. It could be used for fall, specifically fall, and summertime. Like I could use it the whole way up until December of winter. So, the next palette that I have is my Tartelette in Bloom palette. I definitely think these colors to me, they're not overly warm and they're not overly cool. I think it's like the perfect balance between warm and cool. Obviously it's neutral. But I feel like you can get so many looks out of this. You can get a really nice warm tone look for the summertime. If you just want a really nice natural kind of look, this row would be perfect. But if you want like a really nice little tail end of the summer kind of look where it's almost getting cool, it's like hoodie weather, that perfect like 2-week hoodie weather that everyone loves so much. Like, that would be a nice row for it. And then right when it gets about going into the cold where you kind of want to go and pick up your winter jacket, but you kind of don't, that row would be wonderful for it. Now, I think they blend out beautifully. I love Firecracker. Like, that is a beautiful kind of shade. I just love how versatile it is because when I use this palette, it doesn't look overly warm. It doesn't look overly cool. So I feel like it can fit in any season. You know, I think it's kind of like a timeless palette to me. I can use it whenever. If I wanted to use, honestly, if I mix all the colors a certain way, I could use this palette all year long. It's just one of those palettes that you can just use whenever. I just feel like it just doesn't, I don't know, I just think it's timeless. Seasonal, whatever, I think it's perfect. So, I would definitely recommend picking it up. Besides this, I think it smells like buttercream. I think it smells like buttercream. I love buttercream. The next palette that I have is a Makeup Revolution Soph X eyeshadow palette. This one I think you can use through the summer and through the fall. If you are the type of girl or guy who loves to wear nice pops of color, this would be like an ideal palette, especially since you have everything you need in this palette. You have all your nice shimmers, you have all your nice stuff with it. I'm not going to go into detail on the review because I have a video on it, and if I can find it, I will try to remember to link it down below or do something along the lines of that. But I think if you like pops of color for summertime, you definitely have all your pops of color. If you just strictly like warm tones, you have a whole side of warm tones. And if you like a little bit of cool tones, you have like a couple cool tones over here. And you have your nice shimmer shades that you can pop on the lid. And you also have some warm tones over here. I just feel like, depending on what you consider a summer palette, you may think this is a summer palette completely. You may think this might not be versatile at all. I think this is very versatile, depending on what you guys think is a summer palette or summer colors, or whenever summer's coming around, what do you think summer is? You know, is it just light and airy looks, or is it just bold pops of color? Now me, I just like how it's versatile, and if I want a nice pop of color, you know, I can always use the blues, the greens, the magentas, the oranges, especially the oranges. Those are very summery kind of colors. Used with a light hand though. I'm not going to sit there and pile on a bunch of shades of orange and expect it to look out very summery. It's like a splash of warmth to me. Like, you put on orange and then you blend it out with a nice neutral brown to kind of give it that extra warmth that it's lacking, type of thing. Okay, so this is one of my new additions, but this is my Urban Decay Naked Heat Petite Heat palette. Now, I think that this is the perfect, depending on the look that you want to create, I think this can be used from the start of summer to fall, because you have, if you just wanted to use these 4 shades in the look to create a really nice look, you can use that in the summertime. You can just use those 4 shades all throughout summer, and it'd be the perfect summer look because you have your nice shimmer shade that you can put on your lid. That is it's like a peachy, I don't know how to describe that color, but it's almost like a nice peachy champagne kind of color. And then you have your nice warm, not warm, it's like a neutral transition shade, which is beautiful in the crease. And then you have your slightly darker but warmer kind of brown that is really nice to go and put on the outer V and just, you know, give everything a nice smoky effect and kind of define everything. And then you have your nice little, your nice burnt kind of orange or burnt sienna or whatever you like to call it. This would be just to add a touch of warmth, to go and give this color right here what it's lacking. So I just feel like, depending on how you use this palette, this can go either way. If you just want to sit there and use this color all over the lid, this color in the transition, you know, it just depends on how you want to use it, because I feel like this could be your one and only palette for the summertime if you just love wearing warm browns for the summer. And especially since these 3 colors right here, they're like the perfect, they're just perfect. I think they're perfect with each other. By the way, this video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. This is just my opinion on what I think of these products. But I just think that these 3, if you wanted to use these 3 for the whole summer, that is a nice, light summery kind of look with a tad bit of warmth, and you can just tap into that just to give it what it needs, a little bit more extra warmth. Maybe even line the lash line with this or something just to give it a little bit more extra warmth and kind of make, if you have green eyes, pop, or blue eyes and make them pop too. I just think this is a either or kind of palette. It just depends on what kind of looks that you prefer, you know. But I think this can go either way. It just depends. The next palette that I have, which you guys might be a little confused when I'm choosing this palette, is the Tartelette Toasted. Because, like in the last palette, I specifically think this palette can be used from summer to fall, just specifically like right down here, because you do have your nice warm colors, but you don't have your nice burnt oranges or really dark kind of colors. You do have a nice dark brown, but you can just use that to just define your outer V, or you can use that on the lash line. You don't have to necessarily do a brown smoky eye and call it a day. But I feel like if I honestly carried this whole palette around, here, I'm going to give you guys a better look at it. If I just carry this whole palette around with me for the summertime, I can just create in this quad right here, it's because it's very reflective. If I just created a whole look with this quad right here, that is a nice summery look. To me, in my opinion, I think that is a perfect summer look. You got your nice transitions, you got a little pop of color, and they're not too warm where it's like overly orange, and you can kind of counteract that with using this brown right here, which is called Latte. You can use Latte and kind of give it that nice warm orange and that peachy orange. I don't know what I'd call it. Flesh toned. I don't know. If you use the color Cashmere, if you sat there and use Cashmere and Warmth together, and then you use Latte and just to kind of counteract somewhat, to say the least, the warmth of it and just kind of make everything mesh together, I think that would be the perfect summer look. And if you added like a little bit of like candle or just a little bit of any of these nice, really beautiful light shimmer shades, I think that is a perfect summer look. I just love a nice summer look that has a little bit of warmth to it. It's light colors. They're not dark and heavy. It's nothing too deep. It's nothing too intimidating. It's just very light and airy. Like, I think bronzes and golds and coppers, I think those colors for summertime. I don't necessarily think like pops of blue, pops of green. I don't think that. But I think this palette can go either way, especially if you guys like to use this palette for fall time. I think this whole palette would be good for it. You can just do a nice brown smoky eye. You can use Crackle, which is a nice dark brown with gold reflex in it, gold flecks throughout it. You can use that all over the lid or whatever. I think it just depends on the user to how this palette would look. Because for me, this is a either or. Some people may see this palette and just be like, that is specifically a summer, like a fall palette. And that's okay. I just think you can do so much with this palette for both seasons. I wouldn't pull this out in wintertime because it just doesn't fit the extreme cold. Like, I feel like cool tones are more like that. So I definitely would recommend this palette. I do have a review on it if you guys want to check that out. It is one of my first handful of videos, so yeah, go ahead and check that out. I'll try to remember to leave that down below if I remember. Okay, so when I'm going throughout YouTube and I see the Jaclyn Hill palette, I think of how much she loves warm tones, and I just think summer, summer, summer. Now, I just don't see myself really using this palette in anything but summer, especially for this whole row. Honestly, this whole palette is summer to me. Besides, like, the deeper shades right down here, it's probably the only thing that isn't screaming summertime to me, like these 4 shades. Like, that's it. That's it. Everything else is literally summertime. Whether you love just working with the warm tones up here or the nice pinky tones up here, or you just like working with the pops of color, like the teals, the greens, the blurples, the royal purple, whatever your forte is, I feel like if you like pops of color, you got it in this palette. If you like for the summertime. If you like just warm tones, you got that covered. If you just like to go and use these colors to just line the lash line, you got it covered. I feel like this over everything else besides the Sweet Peach palette, I think this is the most well-rounded summertime palette in my opinion, because it can go either way. And I feel like you can also use a lot of these deeper shades over here, like this shade right there, and this shade right there, and then this shade over here. I feel like those can be used for, what do you call it? For fall, especially because of how deep they are, the more burnt. They make me think of they make me think of the smell of burning wood that you usually smell in like the fall time, the winter time. I just think this palette will be perfect for either or, just based on the color selection alone. This is, like I said, this is the most well-rounded palette that you will probably ever find that I can actually think of. Honestly, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I mean, you got everything. You got your warm tones, you got your pinks, you got your nice deep tones if you like to play with deep colors. In the fall time, you got your blurples and your seafoam greens. You just got everything. I think this palette is perfect for someone who likes to experiment with color in the summertime, doesn't like to do in the wintertime. I just think this is just a timeless seasonal palette. You can use this almost in any season. I'm not sure about wintertime, maybe just the darker shades in the wintertime, like the more burnt kind of colors. Maybe if that's what you like. I wouldn't personally do that, but I would just use it specifically for summertime. This is just a summertime palette. I may pull it out in the wintertime. I'm not sure. It just depends on if I'm really just wanting to, and just see how I feel. I may do a look and not like it in the wintertime. Who knows? It's just a matter of experimenting and seeing what I like. Okay, you guys, so this palette is kind of bending the rules just a little bit. So right now I am going to show you guys, this is the last palette, by the way, is the Tartelette, that's it. And this one is actually the fake one I'm showing you guys, because my real one's somewhere. It's somewhere put up. But anyways, so this is pretty much the palette. I just think that whatever kind of look that you want. If you want a really nice, beautiful, very nude, I feel like nude can go in any direction. That can be for fall time, that can be for winter time, that can be for summertime. Just nude alone, like very natural colors, not even just like warmy kind of colors, just natural. To me, that screams summertime. Not summertime. To me, that screams any time of the year. It doesn't matter whether there's 20 feet of snow on the ground or it's 200 degrees and you're burning the egg when you crack it on your car. This palette, I really honestly believe that if you guys love a really nice kind of purples, like if you are inspired by the purples and the pastels and the mauves, or just if you're just inspired by the flowers that are blooming, this would be a really nice palette for you guys. I mean, you have your beautiful cream shades, you have your grays. I feel like you just have not everything. Like, I would use this in the summertime. I think this would be nice in the summertime, mostly because of this row right here, what kind of has me kind of like, yes, it's summertime. And also, honestly, the whole palette, but I definitely think that this purple row right here, these two, if I could take these two purple out, I would, and then it'll be like the perfect fall and summer palette. Like, perfect. Because, I mean, I would honestly use this from the beginning of summertime when I don't want, okay, this is a palette I would use when I am sick of warm tones. I just want something natural and I'm over it. I just want something completely matte, and I'm just fed up with warm colors because that's what I've been seeing for the past like years. Warm tones, like that's it. Like when I get sick of warm tones, I'd probably wind up reaching for this fall time, summertime, I'd probably use this if I'm going to Greenwood, I'm going out shopping, or I really just want something that's more smoky, but daytime smoky, that is appropriate for the summer. So I'd probably reach into these colors, but not necessarily these colors right down here. I'd probably use that to kind of, smoke out my, the lash line and everything like that. I just think personally, this can go in either direction. It just depends, like I said, it just depends on you. I normally think of nice warm tones for the summertime, but sometimes depending on the palette, I can always reach for a nice cool tone or just plain neutral kind of tone. Purples I feel like are more summertime than they are fall. It just depends on the purple, because if it is like one of these kind of purple, I just closed the palette. Okay, the whole stuff is kind of busting. But for purples like these, I feel like it can go in either direction depending on how you put it together. So just keep that in mind. So I hope you guys like this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel. That way you guys can see more future videos and you can be part of this little family we got going on here. I would love to have you guys. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.